I've made so many bad purchases in my life, especially when it comes to camera bags and backpacks. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Here are 4 things you should pay special attention to. And especially the last point really helped me to narrow down what bag I would choose. Hi, I'm Chris and welcome back to my little film photography channel. Today we're going to talk all about camera bags and backpacks. Especially if you're getting into the hobby of photography, it can be overwhelming. There's so many bags, brands and companies out there that are trying to grab your attention and money. So I'm going to try to make your decision making a little bit easier with 4 things I would pay attention to if I would buy a new bag or backpack today. Sounds good? Let's get started then. Okay, so why does the right bag matter? I mean, can you just throw your camera in your everyday backpack and call it a day? Well, technically you could, but let me tell you why you shouldn't. As a film photographer, your gear isn't just expensive, it's delicate. We're talking about vintage cameras that have survived decades, lenses that are precision engineered, and film rolls that don't take kindly to being squished onto your water bottle. And never forget that almost all film cameras are not produced anymore. So if you break it, good luck replacing it. Especially with the recent resurgence of film, prices for film cameras are rising faster than inflation. And imagine this, you're out on location, you spot the perfect shot, do you want to waste precious time digging through your messy bag? Or do you want everything exactly where you need it, ready to go? And here's the thing, if you're just starting out your film photography journey, the bag you choose can now grow with you as your gear and skills evolve. So let's talk about how to make the right choice. So here are the bags that we're going to have a look at. First, let's talk about what actually matters for film shooters. Spoilers. It's not just about looking retro cool, though that's a bonus. I'm scoring these bags on size, accessibility, protection, comfort, and extra points for film first functionality. Because dropping a roll of Portra 800 shouldn't feel like a horror movie scene. Size. This is probably the most important point you want to look out for. How much gear do I want to carry with me? Not how much gear do I own, but rather what kind of gear does it has to fit and what accessories do I need to place in the backpack. Even if you have a room full of cameras, you usually take 1 to 2 cameras with you at a time when you want to take pictures. Think about what you usually want to bring on a photo trip. How many extra lenses, film, tripod, and what do you want to carry besides your gear? Clothes, shoes, electronics, and so on. Accessibility. Let's start with accessibility. A good bag needs to let you grab your roll of Kodak Gold or Cinestill without unpacking everything. Imagine you're halfway through a golden hour shoot and your Portra 400 runs out. Do you want to unzip 3 compartments, move your Contax T2, and fumble through a tangle of straps just to reload? Ideally, a good bag has dedicated side pockets for your film so you can access it easily whenever you need to. Also, a quick access top flap for the most used lens and side slots for tools like cable release or a tiny notebook to lock your shot is a bonus. Protection. As mentioned, our film gear is fragile. A single drop could turn your Leica M6 into a paperweight. That's why a camera bag should provide some grade of protection against bumps, fumbles and falls. Look for thick modular dividers, water-sealed zippers for rainy day street photography, and what material it's made of. In the best case scenario, the material shields your gear from harsh weather conditions. 4. Comfort. Comfort is a non-negotiable, especially if you have a heavyweight like the Pentax X7. That's a brick. A good bag needs wide padded straps that don't dig into your shoulders after an hour and breathable back panels to avoid that sweaty back look. If you're using a shoulder bag, check for non-slip grip. Nothing's worse than your bag sliding off mid-roll change. 5. Extra points for film first functionalities. This point is optional, but it is a nice to have for us as film photographers. This is where most bags fail film shooters. Digital bag prioritize laptop sleeves and tripod straps. We need film-specific features. And does it have a light tight compartment to protect your rolls? Maybe a zippered mesh pocket for used film canisters, so you don't mix them with fresh rolls of film. Alright, let's put the criteria to the test. So here I have different sizes of bags and backpacks that I use for my photography gear. We're going to use them as examples and rate them by the points I've outlined. Size, accessibility, protection, comfort, and as a bonus, film first functionalities. I will go into the specific detail of the particular gear, but the point is that you can go from this video and apply this to any bag and any backpack you're interested in. Long weekend sling. First up is the sling, or what I like to call the daddy pouch. This category is for those who only carry the bare essentials. It's so small that you can only fit 1 camera. As an example, I have the long weekend Monterey sling. It's a 2-liter bag that usually holds all my everyday carry items. Keys, phones, wallet, AirPods, tissues, and either my Yashica T5 or Olympus Mu 5. That's all it can hold, and then it's maxed out. In terms of accessibility, this sling has one big zipper that opens up the main compartment. It also has an extra zipper and a cargo pocket in the front, which is perfect for storing a film roll of 35mm or 120 film. As for protection, there's no cushioning whatsoever, so don't throw this sling on the ground. It's also not made with water-resistant materials. I've been caught in light rain with it and it holds up okay, but anything more than that would be too much for it. When it comes to comfort, the wide strap makes it really comfortable to carry. Since you can't really pack too much in this sling, I've never had an issue with it being too heavy. And lastly, the bag was created by fellow film photographer Wandrd PRVKE. These little details, like the dedicated spot for film, are a big bonus in my eyes. LowePro. Let's go one size up. Say you've got your go-to camera setup and maybe a lens you'd like to swap between rolls. In that case, you might want to consider a larger sling or a messenger bag. These bags are worn crossbody and typically have enough space for one camera body and 2 extra lenses. There's a huge variety of sling and messenger bags out there, and I can show you 2 examples that I personally own. First up is the LowePro Nova 3 AW. This bag actually came with the purchase of a second-hand Fujifilm X-T1. Naturally, it can fit the X-T1, 2 lenses and some extras. To be honest, I rarely use this bag. It mainly serves as a storage spot for all things Fujifilm, but it could easily fit something like a Mamiya 645 and 2 extra lenses and you'd be good to go. Honestly, that's all I'd want to carry with me when I'm out taking film photos. In terms of accessibility, there's one large zipper that wraps around the top, giving you full access to the main compartment and whatever gear you've tossed in there. And protection-wise, it's a big step up from the long weekend sling. The exterior is padded and has thick dividers to keep your gear safe from bumps and each other. I think it also came with a rain cover, but I can't remember where I put it. Either way, without the rain cover, the bag wouldn't survive pouring rain. As for comfort, it has a padded section here that feels really nice at first. But this is where the trade-off between comfort and the amount of gear you're carrying starts to show. Sure, it's comfortable initially, but you're also hauling a lot more than with a tiny 2-liter sling. And the longer you wear it, the more uncomfortable it becomes. This issue only gets worse with the next size up. I'll get to that in a minute. If comfort is your top priority, in my opinion, there's no way around using a backpack. But I digress. Let's get back to the sling. While there aren't any film-specific features on this bag, it does have a front zipper pocket where you can easily store your film. The sling won't win any beauty contest, but it's functional and it knows exactly who its target audience is. Let's go even bigger. Next up is the ThinkTank Retrospective 30. This camera bag is the first one I've owned that comfortably fits my larger cameras. I can fit my Mamiya 7, a Mamiya 645 and an extra lens in it, and there's still plenty space for accessories. There's so many pouches for storing film, extra batteries, cable release and more. For a messenger bag, this is the upper limit for me. It gets heavy fast. In terms of accessibility, it has a front flap that lets you open the entire bag at once. It's quick and easy, but it doesn't fully enclose the main compartment. As you can see here, rain or dust could still get in from the sides. One special feature of this bag is the silencer mode, which lets you control how much Velcro adheres to each other. This is especially handy for street photography, where discretion is key. The outer material is made out of thick canvas. I've had this bag for several years now, and as you can see, it's well used. But personally, I think the wear and tear gives it a really nice rugged aesthetic. Like the LowePro, the ThinkTank comes with a rain cover. I've never actually used it though. It survived many rainy bike rides, and as far as I can remember, the gear stayed dry. But you know, just in case, it's there when you need it. Here's the thing. Whenever I pack this messenger bag, I tend to overpack and carry way more than I need to. With a backpack, the weight is evenly distributed across both shoulders, but with a messenger bag like this, you start to feel the strain after a while. And more often than not, I end up with shoulder pain from carrying it all day. So it's not necessarily the shoulder strap's fault, but rather the inherent design of a messenger bag that makes carrying a lot of gear uncomfortable over long periods. As for film photographers, there aren't any specific film-first features on this bag, but the design of its 2 front pouches made it perfect for organizing fresh and used film rolls. I usually keep all of my fresh rolls on the left pouch and store all the shot rolls on the right pouch until I get back home. Wandrd Veer. Let's move on to the first backpack on the list. the Wandrd Veer 18 liter. I've always been a fan of Wandrd's bag aesthetics, so when they announced this backpack on Kickstarter, I was fully on board. The standout feature of this backpack is its cushioning system. It has an inflatable camera cube. To be honest, it's not the best protection for your camera, but hey, a little protection is better than none at all. Intermission. I just checked Wandrd's website and it looks like they've stopped selling this backpack. This backpack is probably the most used one I own, and not just for carrying cameras. I use it for everything: small errands, short hiking trips, family outings, city exploration, and even as a gym bag. Since it's not primarily a camera backpack, the camera cube only holds one camera. There are no dividers, so if you want to throw in a couple of extra items, you better wrap them up before tossing them into the cube. It can hold one large camera or one small camera with an extra lens, but again, without dividers, I wouldn't recommend putting multiple items in the cube. Otherwise, you risk your gear falling out when you try to grab a camera. So even though it's an 18 liter bag, you're limited to using this camera cube to keep your gear secure. And like I mentioned earlier, I wouldn't trust this air cushioning system to protect against even a slight bump. As for comfort, the main focus of this bag is its compactness and lightness, which means it sacrifices things like comfort. As long as you're not carrying anything heavy, it's pretty comfortable. But I've also tried carrying a camera with a 70-200 lens, and it starts to get uncomfortable really quickly. On top of that, there's absolutely nothing here specifically for film photographers. It has 3 compartments. The main one, the upper compartment for essentials like keys, wallets and sunglasses, and the front zipper. If I were to carry a film in this backpack, I'd definitely use one of those metal cases before tossing the film in loosely. Next up, it's another product from Wandrd, the PRVKE 21 liter backpack. I absolutely love this backpack. It's aesthetically pleasing and incredibly well designed. The way it works is with a camera cube at the bottom of the backpack. When you open up the zipper of the PRVKE, you see what I mean. The bottom section is removable, so if you're not planning to carry a camera, you can use the entire space for whatever you need. The camera cube itself has customizable dividers that can adjust to fit your gear. I usually keep the main camera in the front for easy access through the side panel, with accessories and lenses spread out across the rest of the space. There are also a ton of zippers and pockets, though most of them are a bit too small for my liking. The ones I use most are the large zipper at the front and the small one on the side, where I usually stash my keys. You can also access the entire cube or gear by opening the backpack clamshell style with the main zipper. In terms of protection, the gear is pretty well secured. The camera cube adds an extra layer of padding before you even get to the exterior. The only downsides are these tiny dividers. They feel flimsy and a little bit too thin and don't give me much confidence that the gear is securely separated. From what I've seen though, Wandrd has already addressed this in their newer camera cubes, where the dividers look much thicker. If any of you have an updated version, could you please let me know in the comments how much of a difference those thicker dividers make in keeping your gear from bumping into each other? Now, in terms of comfort, this is probably the most comfortable backpack I've ever owned. It has broad padded shoulder straps and excellent back cushioning. Even when it's filled to the brim, it's still a great backpack to carry. As for film photographers, it has plenty of different pouches where you can store filters, film rolls and other small accessories. While it's not specifically designed for film photographers, it's really nice to have all of these storage options available. Now onto the big gun. My peak design everyday backpack in 30 liter version. Wow, that's a mouthful. This is actually the second peak design backpack I've owned. I started with the 20 liter version, but it was too small for my needs at the time, so I upgraded to its bigger brother. There are already tons of reviews about this bag on YouTube, and I've mentioned it in my 2024 gear review video. But the key takeaway is this: if you need a camera bag that can carry a lot of gear, you can't go wrong with this one. I've taken this backpack to mountain peaks, the windy beaches of Iceland and the dusty dunes of Denmark. It's been with me on countless shoots and has never let me down. It always fits everything I need. Though like with the ThinkTank bag, I tend to overpack it when I use it. In terms of accessibility, it's a solid 10 out of 10. You can open it from 3 sides. No matter how I pack it, if I need something buried deep down inside, I can just unzip one of the side panels and grab it. The design is so smart and modular that I can easily adjust the dividers to fit different sizes of film gear. The only downside, and I also mentioned this in my gear review video, is that the zipper on the inside is a little bit too exposed and could potentially scratch your gear. As for protection, the divider panels feel much sturdier than the ones on the PRVKE bag, and there's plenty of padding to keep your gear safe. However, if the backpacks only have fold, I feel like these origami style folds can come undone too easily. It's never happened to me, but then again, I tend to overpack, so it's always stuffed with cameras, on-the-go essentials and more. In terms of comfort, it's not as comfortable as the Wandrd PRVKE. It's a backpack, so it's comfortable enough for city trips, short hikes, but the chest strap system is a little bit weird at first. You can clip the straps on both sides, but on mine, one side is stuck and I'm a little bit afraid to force it out. Finally, is there anything specifically for film photographers? Like in the Wandrd bag, since it's a newer backpack developed before the resurgence of film, there aren't any special compartments designed specifically for film photographers. That said, there are plenty of pouches and zippered pockets where you can store your film essentials. By now you might be thinking, okay, these bags sound great, but how do I know which one's the right for me? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Choosing a bag is like choosing your first film camera. It's all about matching your needs to the bag's features. So let's break it down. First, ask yourself, what kind of photographer am I? If you're just starting out with a point and shoot camera and keeping things simple, a compact bag like the Long Weekend Sling might be all you need. It's great for casual photo walks, quick errands, or those days where you don't want to lug around a ton of gear. But if you're the type who likes to be prepared for anything, maybe you're carrying a backup camera, multiple lenses, a light meter, you want something roomier like the Peak Design Everyday Backpack. Next, think about how often you shoot outdoors. If you're venturing into unpredictable weather or rugged locations, you need a bag with solid weatherproofing like the Wandrd PRVKE 20 liters with the rain cover. Nothing kills the mood faster than rain soaking through your bag and onto your gear. Another thing to consider is your shooting style. If you're a street photographer, quick access is a non-negotiable. A bag like the ThinkTank Retrospective 30 lets you grab a camera in seconds so you don't miss those fleeting moments. But if you're heading into a multi-day shoot or traveling with your entire setup, you surely need something bigger. And here's a pro tip. Always think about versatility. A backpack like a Wandrd Veer is great as a backup option. You can keep it folded in your luggage and use it when you don't want to carry a larger bag. It's lightweight, simple and perfect for these in-the-moment shots. By asking yourself these questions, you can match the bag to your style and needs. And don't forget, no bag is forever. As you grow as a photographer, your gear and needs will evolve too. So think of this as your starting point. Alright, you've got the basics down. But before you hit buy on that camera bag, let me give you some bonus tips to make sure you're getting the most out of your purchase. First, let's talk about organization. One thing I've learned the hard way is that loose rolls of films are the enemy of efficiency. Invest in small pouches or metal cases for film canisters to keep them neat and protected. It sounds simple, but trust me, knowing exactly where your film is can save you so much frustration during a shoot. Second, customize your setup. Most good camera bags come with adjustable dividers, but here's the thing. They're not just for cameras. Use them to create sections for your accessories, a space for your light meter, another space for batteries, and even a dedicated spot for snacks. Yes, you heard me right, snacks. Because let's be real, no one shoots their best on an empty stomach. Third, think ahead. When I bought my first camera bag, I went for the smallest one I could find because I thought, this is all I ever need. Spoiler, it wasn't. Within a year, I was upgrading because my gear had outgrown my bag. So even if you're just starting with one camera and a couple of lenses, consider getting a bag that leaves room to grow. And finally, maintenance. Camera bags go through a lot. They get tossed in cars, dragged across airports, and occasionally used as a seat in a pinch. To keep yours looking good and lasting longer, clean it regularly and check zippers and straps for wear. A little care goes a long way in keeping your investment worthwhile. These tips seem small, but they make a big difference in how you use and enjoy your bag. And here's a bonus tip within a bonus tip. If you're ever unsure about the bag, go to the store and try it on. Sometimes the way a bag feels in real life can change everything. So there you have it. Everything you need to know finding the perfect camera bag as a film photographer. From compact slings for quick walks to heavy-duty backpacks for pro shoots, there's a bag out there for everyone. The right bag doesn't just protect your gear, it makes your shooting experience smoother, more efficient, and honestly, a lot more enjoyable. Now, I want to hear from you. What kind of photographer are you, and what are you looking for in a camera bag? Let me know in the comments. And if you got a bag you swear by, share that too. Your recommendation might help someone else to find the perfect fit. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more tips to level up your film photography. Thank you for watching and see you next time.